Hi there, I'm Win Perini, and in this video I share 5 steps to add Google Tag Manager to Shopify. And this should take about 5 minutes for you to set up. If you want to run profitable digital marketing campaigns to your Shopify store, you really should be tracking every meaningful step in your checkout process, including view items, add to carts, checkouts, and especially purchase completed events. Now, Google Standard comes with a native integration with Universal Analytics and also enhanced e-commerce. And that's an option that you can enable both within Shopify and within your Universal Analytics dashboard. What this does is it unlocks a goldmine of analytics insights for you to act upon in order to grow your business. So if you're not running that, I really highly recommend that you do that. But Shopify doesn't support Google Ads by default. And even though it does enable you to send data to Facebook ads via the Facebook ads application, many people are complaining that they're getting a double up in their conversion reporting and it's affecting the optimization of their Facebook ads, and therefore it's affecting their profitability. And so we know we have a problem there. Facebook is not addressing this, and neither is Shopify, so nobody seems to be supporting this. And lastly, there's no support for Google Analytics 4 or for many other third-party integrations that you may optionally want to use. So to get around that, one option is that you could upgrade to Shopify Plus, but the only problem is that it costs you $2,000 a month, which is great for their enterprise customers, but for the bulk of Shopify store owners who are likely not making more than $500,000 a month, it's going to be hard for them to justify the cost of upgrading. So that's okay, because we do have a solution that doesn't require Shopify Plus, and it just takes the 5 following steps. So step 1 is to go to tagmanager.google.com. And what we're going to do is to create an account if you don't already have one. So you should see a page like this, and what you want to do is click on this create account button. Now what you need to do is give it your company name. So in this case I'm just going to call it my company, but you want to give it something meaningful. Then select your country. So I'm in New Zealand, so I'm going to choose that from the drop down here. And you can choose whether or not you want to share data with Google. I'm going to leave that off. And then give your container a name. So usually what I like to do is to give it the domain name of the website that I'm going to be running it to if I'm doing a website. So it might look like this, domain.com. And because this is a browser-based container, I like to put the word browser after it. Now, the reason I do this is because we now run these concurrently with what's called Google Tag Manager Server. In order to be able to differentiate between the two, this is the way that I like to name them. Now, if you're only just running the one browser setup and you're not running it in conjunction with anything else, then it's fine to just leave it as the name of the domain that you're setting this up for. And it's really not critical what you name it, because that doesn't actually affect how it functions. Next, from these options here, you want to choose the type of Google Tag Manager container that you're going to be running. Now, if you're running on iOS, then obviously choose iOS. Android, then use Android. And if you're using the new server setup, then you choose server. Now, today we're keeping the scope of this to just the standard web browser setup. So we're going to click on web, and I'm going to click create. And then you want to read through all of these terms and conditions. And if you're happy with that, then click yes. So now that you have your container or your account set up, you have your first container, and you can create multiple containers, then you'll have a setup that looks like this. Now, when you first load the page, it'll give you 2 tags. One is for the head of your website. So this is invisible to people. People don't see this. It's JavaScript, and I'll show you where to put that in just a moment. But what you want to do is get a notepad, and then to copy this into a notepad that you're going to be using later. And then we're going to get the body tag, and you'll also put this into the notepad. Once again, we'll grab this again in just a moment. Step 3, log into your Shopify store and click on Online Store. That's the link in the left-hand sidebar. You'll find it near the middle of the page depending on how many links you've got there in your sidebar, but it's near the bottom of that list. So click on that, and then you want to click on the themes link. So we're going to click on that. My internet's taken a long time to load today for some reason. But from the actions button here that you see on the right hand side, you click that and you'll get a drop down. So what we want to do is now to click edit code, and that's going to start editing the theme files for your Shopify store. So these files that you see here, they're all in the extension .liquid. So this is a special templating language for Shopify. Now the one that we're interested in mostly is this one called Theme Liquid. Now when you open up your theme editor, it should open by default to theme.liquid. If it doesn't, you can look for it down here. It should be near the top, and click on Theme Liquid. Okay, so now that's open. What we want to do is to paste our Google Tag Manager code in there. Now mine's already got it, but I'm going to delete what was there before. I'm just going to put it somewhere safe so I can put it back in there. And now what we want to do is go back to our notepad. I'm just going to grab that. And remember, of course, that we had a head code snippet, JavaScript, and we had a body snippet. Okay, so we grabbed the head snippet first. I'm going to go back into my theme liquid, and just under the opening head tag, the one that says pointy bracket head pointy bracket, paste it there. Okay, so it looks like that. Now we're not quite done yet. Next step is to grab our body tag, and now what we're going to do is scroll down until we see the opening body tag. So this is the opening body tag here, pointy bracket body. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to paste it right there. So you see it right there in my one. So I post it here, and that's what it will look like. Okay, so once you're done with that, then click on the save button. I'm not going to save this because I've already got this test site running, but definitely click save on your one. And once you're done there, we're ready for step 4. Okay, so we're going to head on back to the actual store settings. So in the left hand sidebar again, you'll see right at the very bottom left, you'll see this link that says settings. Click on that, then click on checkout. And now what we're looking for is we need to scroll down, and we look for the section called additional scripts. Okay, so we grab our original head tag, that's the very first one, and we paste it here in this additional scripts. Now the reason why we have to paste this in a second place is because when you put the head tag just in the theme liquid file that we just did in step 3, Google Tag Manager container is now going to load on all of your pages apart from the checkout process. Right, so you'll be missing all of that valuable data from the checkout process. Now, in order to capture that, you must put this tag here so that this fires when people start going through the checkout process and they start putting in their credit card details, and then they complete that checkout and they end up on a thank you page. So this is where this code is going to fire, and you can pick up on all of that valuable data. So the final step is to verify that everything's working, that the GTM container is loading correctly. The way to do that is first of all to copy the domain of your store, and then what you want to do is open up Google Tag Manager. So I'm going to open this up to the actual one that I've got this test store running on, and the next step is to click preview. So up in the top right hand corner you can see a preview button here. Click on that, and then it's going to ask for the URL of the domain that you're testing. Okay, so click connect. So now this will connect to my shop. It will open up that domain in test mode, and you'll see down in the right hand corner here that it says Tag Assistant connected. Right, so it tells you also that the debug information available with this is viewable in the Tag Assistant window. And this Tag Assistant window here is, you'll get one that looks like this. You won't have all of these tags and triggers firing because your GTM container will be empty. There won't be anything in it at this point. But as long as you get to the point where you can see this has a tag assistant connected, this message here. And as long as you see up in the top here, it says tag assistant connected up the top here, you know that your GTM container has loaded correctly, and you know that you've successfully done everything. Now in a later video, I'll go through exactly how to use this preview window here that you can see, or this tag assistant window, in order to debug your setup, especially when starting to install things like the Google Analytics tags, Universal Analytics, Google Analytics 4, Google Ads, Facebook Ads, and the Facebook Cappy Pixels. Hope all that made sense. Now if you have any questions, do leave them in the comments. And if you would like to discuss your project, you are able to do that. There's a link in the description where you can book a free session either with myself or my business partner, Alex McCaskey. And lastly, if you found this valuable, please leave a like. It does help others who are trying to figure out how to add Google Tag Manager to Shopify to find good quality videos like this. Thanks, and see you on the next video.